ever been to school? I bet you have. Unless you're Christopher LeBlanc. He's never been to school. But good for him. He can avoid the school to prison pipeline. He avoided stuff like this.
Think this is a joke? Think it's funny?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah!
It is.
Yeah!
3 hours later.
You ain't doing a damn thing if you ain't here. You gotta take care.
Devastating, isn't it? Sadly for many kids in America, things like this can be a form of discipline in schools. The school-to-prison pipeline refers to the highly prevalent phenomenon that leads kids who are punished in school to become increasingly more likely to be referred to more severe punishments. This issue shows how forms of school discipline can often be ineffective in leading kids to be better rule followers. It often begins with minor infractions that result in suspension or expulsion, removing students from the learning environment. These punishments can isolate students and disconnect them from supportive school communities. Over time, repeated disciplinary actions can push students toward the criminal justice system instead of guiding them toward positive change. The pipeline refers to a deeper issue in how schools handle behavior challenges, often relying on punishment over restoration or support. The school-to-prison pipeline primarily affects children and minors. The pipeline demonstrates how the disciplinary actions taken by teachers and administrators in schools can prompt students to take a criminal mindset amongst themselves. The disciplinary actions set in place by school systems usually consist of in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, and expulsions. These actions, when used on a student, can affect them long term, even after they graduate. When a student is faced with one of these actions, it gets put on the record. It makes it very hard for them to get into college or to find a good job after high school or / college. Not to mention the fact that there's a bias against minorities, meaning they are more likely to be punished for these actions due to what they do. Look, I understand that discipline is important, but without it, we would all be setting fires in the lunchroom and electing the gym teacher as our supreme leader. But sometimes school discipline is taken too far. Just look at this middle school student who was arrested for bringing a BB gun to school.
Right now, a middle school student arrested, accused of bringing a BB gun on a school bus.
And we're told another student reported it to authorities. Local 10's Hatzel Vela is in Lauderdale Lakes with what we know about this discovery.
Deputies telling us at this hour that the student they say brought a BB gun to school is only 12 years old, a 6th grader at this middle school here in Lauderdale Lakes, and is now being charged with possession of a weapon on school grounds. It has happened again, this time in Lauderdale Lakes.
Seriously, who even uses BB guns anymore? What is this, Home Alone? This student, while they did a stupid thing, should not have been arrested. The issue with the system is that the schools have to balance prioritizing the education of others and disciplining kids without affecting kids in the long run. Often schools don't have the resources or ability to have every kid go through a much needed session with an adult to work out their issues. This leads to kids not being understood, then being punished, and finally acting out because they feel trapped, and getting pushed again. When I say that the school-to-prison pipeline is a faulty idea that is purely based on the bad causes. While not all students who have undertaken school-issued disciplinary action have taken on a life of crime, there's an overwhelming number that have taken on that lifestyle. There is also a correlation between the race of the student and the pipeline. Minorities have been found to make up most of the population in the pipeline. This means that the pipeline is biased in itself, and due to the nature of the pipeline, which doesn't treat bad behavior at the root, the kids who are punished are more likely. In the end, school-to-prison pipeline is a harmful process that pushes marginalized students, especially black, brown, and disabled students, out of schools and into the criminal justice system. This often starts with harsh disciplinary action for relative minor infractions. Instead of serving students to many school results to punishments through suspensions, expulsions, and school-based arrests. To break this cycle, school must shift away from punishment and have towards healing-oriented restoration practices with a focus on accountability. Investment in counselors, mental health services, and culturally responsive teaching can create supportive classroom environments. Teachers need to be trained implicit bias and trauma-informed care as well. By doing these things, we can create a system that keeps children